At the Buzzer. So this is the final segment of the night. This is At the Buzzer. It's kind of a free-for-all, but this week we're talking Enneagram. Woo. So to give you some context here, the Enneagram, for our male listenership that maybe isn't quite as woke, it's a typology that defines 9 personality types. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're called enneatypes, which are represented by points of a geometric figure called an enneagram, which indicates connections between the types. So essentially, to put it in context, you are one of these 9, but you may, depending on your state of mind, if you're in a healthier state of mind, you have a growth type. And then if you're in a stressed out state of mind, you have a stress type. And then you also have what are called wings, which correlate with that. Basically saying is a little bit of an amalgamation of the different personalities, but you have one anchor, and from there, it dictates where you're naturally going to go. Mm-hmm. So Krista, you and I have had a few conversations about this. And we talked Enneagrams. And fun fact, you and I are actually the same Enneagram, both 7s, which are enthusiast. And the question I really want to get into here is, with this, do you think that the Enneagram is scientific and valid, or do you think that it could be a little bit of a horoscope, or is it something in between?
Well, I definitely don't think it's a horoscope. I mean, maybe this is my 7ness, not wanting to commit to scientifically valid. That feels a little strong.
Sure.
But I think it's incredibly helpful to our culture. I think it's well-rounded. It gives, one of the things that critiques that other personality tests get is that people don't want to feel like they're put in a box, and it's very rigid, right? And the Enneagram is super fluid. Like it says, here's what you look like on average. Here's what you look like in times of stress. Here's what you look like on times of growth. And then even here's some variance within your personality and how you experience the world. And I think that's awesome. Like, I think it's super helpful.
Yes, because like Myers-Briggs very much is a compartmentalized, like you fit these parameters, whereas Enneagram is a multifaceted. This could explain your off days. And I think that a lot of personality tests don't have that. Yeah. My concern and my caution to the wind, and I agree, I think that A, any introspection is healthy. And B, I think what I like about the Enneagram is it provides a frame and context that seems to be laced more in patterns as opposed to ideology, which I think is also helpful. But my fear is with anything, it's easy to kind of go into the fad of it and say like, well, I'm a 7. That's why I react this way. Well, no, you're just a kind of a messed up, broken person who needs to work through some stuff. So what's the balance? How do you take the helpful construct of the Enneagram and still kind of open it up to correction?
Yeah. I think the big thing that has to happen is we have to frame it as a journey. Like it's not like any other personality test that you take. And so what I'm seeing happen, and I've been at fault of this for sure as well, is that you take the information that you maybe read on a website or a quick test, and then you just start to say things like you know more than you do about the Enneagram. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And so, but it truly is something that you're constantly mining the value and the impact of. Yeah. And so I think that what the true strength of the Enneagram is not an excuse for behavior, but a way to more quickly identify weakness, more quickly identify the road to growth in yourself and the people you care about. Yeah. So like Jake's a 1. And so for me to be able to...
Such a typical 1.
For me to be able to know and identify in him like, oh, I can recognize that you're in a time of stress. So instead of being like, what's up with you today? I can recognize now, oh, like you're feeling stress. Yeah. So let me start mining that with you and ask questions because I care about you about what's going on in your world because you're exhibiting stress. And I know what that looks like because you're a 1, if that makes sense.
Which takes a level of vulnerability and courage.
I think Brené Brown and the Enneagram go great together.
I 100% agree. It has been helpful. I think it's given me a level of introspection that I wouldn't normally go to, and really not so much in the main Enneagram number, but in the wings. Trying to figure out how do I operate in these contexts, because I think how you are at work and how you are in social situations and how you are a family could be a moving target. And so I think the wing has been helpful. And this is something that you and I have cracked. You're a 7-wing 6.
Yeah.
And how would you define a 7-wing 6?
I would define a 7-wing 6 as a more subtle 7.
Sure.
So I would thrive in leadership, but I could also play the second fiddle if I needed to.
Yeah.
Whereas a 7-wing 8, which I've typed you as, which you're not supposed to do that.
And then, it dawned on me. I was like, holy crap, I think I'm a 7-wing 8.
But there's great aspects. Like when I said that to you, it was out of the good aspects of a 7-wing 8. I know that about
you.
Like you're a strong leader. You're a stronger personality of a 7 than myself. Where some people will identify as, or some people will say, like a 7-wing 6 gets questioned a lot. Like, are you a real 7? Because people, when they think of 7s, they typically think more of the 7-wing 8 in my experience.
Huh.
So
is once, because for our common listener, how do you take this test? But is once a 7 always a 7, or is this something that transforms?
That is a hot debate.
Because that's what separates it from a horoscope.
Yeah,
that's what questions it. That's what differentiates it. Because I mean, I'm not trying to be a skeptic at all, because I definitely think that this is a good strength finding activity. But is once a 7 always a 7? Is that who you are, or could that change based on your life?
Gurus say.
What do the gurus say?
The gurus say once a number, always a number, but you can take on some elements of other numbers. So
interesting.
For example, I am a 7, and like I've questioned that. I've gone back and forth about it. And at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I really am a 7.
Yeah.
But I get questions often about whether or not I'm a 2. And I exhibit some 2-ness, which is on the Enneagram, the helper. But because I was raised by my mother, who is a very strong 2, my entire career, my adult life has been a teacher and a mother, a minister within our church. And then now, even in my current job, there's elements of shepherding that's required and counseling that's required. Those are 2 qualities. And so as a result, I've learned how to harness some of that. But all of my motivations are the same as they were when I was 10.
Yeah.
The motivation is what's the key within the Enneagram.
Sure. Which is helpful to not be locked into a certain box. Yeah. No, and I get that. And I agree. I think that of all the personality tests that I've taken, this one seems to be more on the nose. But JD, do you know what you are?
No, well, I've taken it a long time ago, and in my MBA program that I'm in right now, we did a Strengths Finder test, which is kind of like this.
Helpful.
And that really, actually, I thought it was super corny at first, and I thought it was just another project. Wow, my chair was really reclining. But actually, I was like, wow, like this really hits on who I am as a person, like what my strengths are. And again, I was a little skeptical. I was like, this just seems something cheesy. Yeah. But then everybody in my class who took it, I could totally see them like, so I should probably take this. So that's why I asked, like, is this a free test that I can take?
There is a free test you can take.
I'm sure there is.
Say, reading a book, you'd probably agree, right?
Be best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
which
maybe
book would you recommend?
Because I took the test like 8 times. I kept getting 3. And because I was thinking in a sales construct of, well, it makes sense that I would be trying to hit goals. But then I started reading up on it, and I had some friends who helped me in that process of evaluation. Where I was like, I'm definitely a 7.
Yeah.
But to your point of you had to exhibit 2 traits.
Yeah.
I think I had to exhibit 3 traits.
Right.
From my role.
Which your wing 8 would explain that.
Right.
It has some commonality with the 3.
Yeah.
I would say, so it takes a level of self-awareness of like what your motivations are. So I would take the test. I would think about yourself in your younger years while you're taking it. That will help identify your motivation a little bit more clearly.
That's a good point.
I would read a book. I will say The Road Back to You is a really great.
The Bible. The Road Back to You.
The Road Back to You is a common
It's right
book.
there in the Bible. Find out which number you are.
I personally found The Path Between Us, which was written right after The Road Back to You, even more helpful. It's intended to talk about the relationship between numbers, but it also recaps the numbers. So it's really helpful. And then I would ask friends.
Ask friends.
Yeah, that know you well.
That is really important. I think that's been the most helpful for me to kind of figure out. And ironically, self-awareness does not come from self, but it comes from community. And so I think that's what the Enneagram also really plays off of too. And so,
Jesus.
And obviously Jesus is the main source of self-awareness. Gosh, I'm so glad we have a pastor on the show to set us straight from all the crass talk here. We can get back on track. Enneagrams. What do you guys think out there, Buzzer Nation? Like, what are you and what do you identify with? But the real creme de la creme topic tonight is which Enneagram you are and which Avenger shares your Enneagram. In light of Endgame, I went ahead and I looked up the Enneagrams.
I'm going to go ahead. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know enough about the.
I only know enough about mine.
You just want to guess
well,
one.
I know. I can guess one, and I could probably guess a 7. Let me try because I'm a 1 year 7. If I had to guess a 1, I would go Captain America.
Yup,
you're correct.
Nice. Okay.
You identify with him.
The dude is a stud. And War Machine. Okay.
Yeah, Don Cheadle and Chris Evans characters share your Enneagram.
What do you think a 7 is, though?
I was going to go 7.
Is there a 7?
I would go.
I don't know if we'll get this one.
I don't know enough about.
I would go Thor for
what?
7.
Oh, wow. You read it.
No, I haven't read this.
How would you guys score for that?
That's awesome. You got it. You nailed it.
Nice. Is there any other 7s?
No,
Thor is the only one.
I love it.
It's like so unromantic that you think of me as Thor.
Hey,
Thor
is awesome.
He's the god of thunder.
And what's really awesome in Endgame.
Got long flowing hair.
It's pretty amazing. I'm not. I'm just saying it was awesome. It was awesome.
Thor's role in Endgame is my favorite.
It was amazing.
100%.
I wonder if you can name any others. I really don't think.
I don't know enough. Those are the only two I really know.
What about number 2, the helper? Who would you think?
The helper.
You know my mom.
Who would you think the helper would be?
I didn't know your mom. Goodness, the helper.
I want to see if you really read this list or not.
Potts?
She's not on the list.
She's not on the list? I think she would be, though, right?
I'll give you a hint. I feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Oh, Spider-Man, really?
Yeah.
I would not have guessed Spider-Man as the helper. No.
He's just always there, willing to jump in and swing in.
Yeah.
I kind of would have well, I mean, I do not know enough about this, but I kind of would have thought he was a 7 because he wants to
it's fun on the go.
I don't think his helping is as much to be a helper as much as he wants to be in the spotlight.
Interesting.
But I don't know.
This is all according to Relevant Magazine.
Okay.
Well, they're relevant.
But I mean, because I don't think they were coming at it from a scientific standpoint. I think they were coming at it like, I'm kind of
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I think so. Number 1 is the Reformer, and that's Captain America and War Machine. Number 2 is the Helper, Spider-Man. Number 3, Achiever, Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Oh, definitely.
Number 4, the Individualist is Scarlet Witch. Number 5, the Investigator is Bruce Banner / the Incredible Hulk. More so Bruce Banner.
Interesting.
Number 6, the Loyalist is Ant-Man, Hawkeye, and Black Panther. Number 7, the Enthusiast is Thor. Number 8, the Challenger is Captain Marvel and Black Widow. Number 9, the Peacemaker is Vision. So, like 9s, very forgettable. So is their character. And you have it.
Wow.
That was not kind.
But the 9s as Peacemakers.
How rude.
If you test yourself as a 9 tonight, let me just say we need more 9s in in They're not forgettable.
Do. We need people to keep
it is the number that keeps us going.
Those darn 7 wing 8s that are coming in, just tearing down the jungle.
Coming in hot.
But anyway, there you have it. Which Avenger are you? You let us know. We'll post on Instagram this week. But
Captain America.
Enneagram. Captain America in the room. Yes. And Thor. A couple Thors.
Mm-hmm.
Golly.
Mm-hmm.
Could be
how romantic. How romantic.
I love it. Well, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, that was an interesting topic. I'll take test.
Yeah. Please do.
Huh.